Now, all of that information, along with witness statements, Zimmerman's gun, and many pieces of evidence that have not been made public, will be pieced together to figure out exactly what happened the night that Trayvon Martin died. Our power panel dissecting that part of the investigation. Hal Uhrig is a defense attorney. James Copenhaver is a private investigator with Copenhaver and Associates. Gentlemen, thank you for coming in. James, we're going to start with you. What do you make of the gun and the importance of that piece of evidence in this investigation? If it wasn't collected initially, as there were reports, what does that mean for the end result of this case, potentially?
Well, I think it's going to be very detrimental to the government's case if, in fact, the firearm or the gun in this case used was not secured by law enforcement immediately. For a couple reasons. Evidentiary-wise would be the number one reason, and secondary would be the safety of the people around that firearm if they didn't seize the gun.
And what exactly are they looking for, James? I mean, what can you find from a ballistics test as far as who's responsible for what?
Well, the way I understand it, everything factual that I've read, it wasn't a smoking gun case or a whodunit case. I mean, they had the shooter there. Ballistic-wise, you're going to match any of the rifling on the firearm up with the whatever projectile is in the decedent in this case. And also, you're going to look for any fingerprints that may have been on the gun, just in case in the future this person would say there were one or two or more shooters, or one or more shooters in this case.
How difficult will this case be if it does go to trial for George Zimmerman and his attorneys to defend?
Well, this is going to come down to a factual determination that the jury figures out a couple of things. And this is not a stand your ground case, but we had self-defense long before we had stand your ground. Who was the aggressor? And whether or not Zimmerman at the time that shot was fired, if he actually fired it by himself, was he in reasonable fear of his life or great bodily damage? Was it a struggle over the gun? Was everybody's fingerprints and hands on it at the same time? There's a lot of things that haven't been sorted out yet. And
James, are they still securing witnesses, do you think, at this point? As we know, no arrests have been made, so are they still out there, do you think, trying to get people who saw some of this?
As a normal routine in a homicide or a shooting investigation, it would be a normal routine to collect and continue to collect and recruit witnesses to further demonstrate the state's, or in this case, Mr. Zimmerman's position in terms of self-defense.
Right, and how, I mean, this has been almost a month now. Do you think they're starting to worry that stories could be changing or maybe even be impacted by some of the coverage of this story?
Well, sure, the passage of time can cause memory loss. The coverage can cause people to want to take a particular position instead of another one. I think they've interviewed everybody they could find. It doesn't mean other people who were afraid before won't come out of the woodwork. We get new information on this case every day. It's on the news every day. So an additional statement, an additional cell phone record. There's an awful lot to find out about this case.
And in the end, Hal, can that muddy up really what the facts are?
Well, sure. I don't think it's going to be as clear-cut as a lot of folks have presented it on the news in some other stations, some of the rallies that we can just skip the trial. So, yeah, there's a lot to put on the record.
All right, and I'm sure we will be bringing you gentlemen both back as the details unfold. James Copenhaver and Hal Uhrig, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.